Thanks for downloading the No Country Podcast, presented by No Country for New Nashville. In this episode, Brad Wilson interviews longtime No Country favorite Alanna Royale. Alanna and drummer Matt Snow discuss how it all got started, as well as the brand new album Achilles, due out September 16th. Make sure you check out NoCountryForNewNashville.com for more podcasts and the latest on Nashville's independent music scene.
No one asks about you no more, and I'm never looking out that door. It's all the same, 'cause I still cry, knowing that there's nothing I can do. And you.
Hey, what's up? This is Brad, and joining me on the No Country Podcast is a Neo Soul Sextet whose blistering live show has earned them a place among the most buzzed about bands in Nashville and a permanent fixture on the No Country site. Led by one of the biggest voices in Music City, the band honed their chops crushing stages at Bonnaroo and Austin City Limits before entering the studio to record their long-awaited debut, Achilles. Set to be released on September 16th. I'm excited to have on the podcast drummer Matt Snow and perhaps the most reserved personality in Nashville from Alanna Royale, Alanna Quinn Broadus. What's up, guys?
Hey, man.
Hey,
Was that the best intro you've ever heard?
that was really good. Except that
Second
time,
best.
Yeah, second. But Hamill, I think from Lightning 100, gave us the best intro of all time.
Oh, how'd that go?
He got like kind of tipsy and got on stage and talked about us like we were his fucking kids.
Really?
This band, he was like, this band is the hardest working band in Nashville. There's such good people. I really can't say. I love them so much. I can't tell you like how great these people are. Like literally, he went on and on and on, and it came from such a beautiful.
Was it like the drunk dad tears?
Yes.
Like I'm emotional.
Yeah.
Like I'm really
so
proud of you
full of
guys.
like the toast at the wedding, but even
Yeah.
though the toasts have already been done and they already happened, but now you want to give one now that you're drunk.
And,
That's
and
Hamill.
everybody just wants the band to play.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, obviously, how could I have possibly lived up to that?
Well, you did have a couple drinks, so
Okay.
maybe
Well,
it warmed.
yeah. Well, so we're here to talk about the full length Achilles. Congrats on the coming release.
Thank
but
you.
Before that, naturally, we're at the home of Alanna. And I have to mention your ensemble that you're wearing. It's a mid-century ensemble, complete with a lovely yellow tee and unbelievable Union Jack pants. That when I walked in tonight,
And don't forget about those loafers
Did you
that
see?
say "fuck off."
Did you see the shoes though?
Oh.
That say "fuck off."
no, I didn't. That obviously completes it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, when I thought about this podcast, you know, and I had just expectations and excitement of what this would be, I have to admit the one thing that did not come into my mind was that I was going to walk into some Union Jack pants. I was not anticipating that. But can I assume by those pants that you're a huge Def Leppard fan?
Oh, no assumption necessary. That's a fact.
Okay. Good, because one of my lifelong dreams is to own a Union Jack tee, you know, like...
Oh my God. Well, if you want anything Union Jack, I've got everything Union Jack.
Okay. Well, maybe afterwards we can just kind of walk...
I'll show you some websites.
Okay, good. Yeah, this is going to be great. Well, guys, I'm excited to have you. I feel like if there's a list of just 2 or 3 flagship No Country bands, Alanna Royale is without a doubt one of those.
Aw, thank you.
Thank you.
The site has been such a huge supporter of the band for as long as you guys have been together, which it feels like, you know, at this point, it feels like it's been a while, but really, I mean, you guys have only been doing this for what? 2 years?
Less than 2 years. Yeah.
I think almost 2 years exactly.
Yeah. This summer, I think it's 2 years. But,
We played our first show in August, I think.
and literally, that's how long pretty much we've actually all known each other.
Really?
Like, we weren't all like friends before this. We didn't even actually, we played our first show before the people in this band actually all even knew each other. So it's an interesting way to like go about being in a band, like being in a band, then meeting each other.
Yeah.
Literally, Diego's first show with us, our trombone player, I never even met him before the show.
I think
He
it was
just
like
showed
our
up.
second or third gig.
How did that happen?
We had a trombone player, Roy Agee, who had played with us, and Roy is a remarkable human being, a remarkable musician. He plays trombone for Prince. And I didn't know that when
He's
I met
kind of
him.
like a no-name guy, Prince. I feel like his name sounds familiar.
I feel like
he
if
went-
you guys covered him on your blog more often, he'd get like the press. he
okay, yeah, I
deserves.
mean, yeah, that's true.
He's small.
Let's get to it.
It's tough to know though, because sometimes he just uses a symbol for his name. So
Yeah.
you don't even know who
That's
it
true.
is.
Okay,
Trickery.
His name is Prince.
He's a witch.
Okay,
Purple mystery man.
A purple mystery man.
So
That's his theme song.
You're a trombone player. Is it your former trombone player plays with?
Well, I mean,
Prince?
I guess I wouldn't even say he was our former trombone player. We literally, like,
played.
I met, he played, I think, 2 shows with us.
Yeah, and it was just kind of like Alanna met him, and we were doing this thing, and it was like we knew we wanted horns,
But we didn't even think the horns were going to be permanent at the time. We thought we would.
I did.
Okay, Matt, you did. We literally discussed like being a 4-piece with like horns sometimes, maybe horns
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
songs, whatever.
Depending, yeah, what-
Not really knowing. And I met Roy and at a bar, and I thought he was hitting on me, and he was really not. I'm just like really full of myself, assuming
well,
that
when
he.
you're wearing Union Jack pants. How could you not?
The legs.
They're a
are-
target. Make you a target.
But then he was like, if you ever need anything, if you ever need horn players or whatever, I'm a horn arranger. And I went home and like looked him up, and he actually like was a incredibly legit,
Like such serious
insanely
business, yeah.
professional musician with crazy credits. So I called him up, and he came over and he worked on our horn parts with us for the 3 songs we had,
Yeah,
4
3 or 4, something like that. Yeah,
and then he played 2 shows with us, and then he got a call from Prince, and Prince was like, you got to come back up to Paisley Park. We're going to do this tour. We're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, Alanna, I got to go. I'm sorry. And I was like, that's okay. It's Prince.
Wait, he turned you down for Prince?
I know.
Can you
What an
believe that?
idiot.
Total. This is crap.
He's probably kicking himself now.
Yeah.
Because we're still here in Nashville.
Yep.
And where's Prince? Probably in Minnesota? Who wants to even be
yeah,
in
who wants to
Minnesota?
hang
Roy
out?
could have come down the street for the gig. Instead, he's got to fly to Minnesota. And it's
Yeah, you got to like
the whole
fly
big
all around the
thing.
world to get to work. It sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
Who really wants that?
I bet he's regretting
He's probably
it.
seeing all these sites that are just ugly and annoying, like the Parthenon.
Yeah, who really? Yeah, who wants to see that?
The thing is, you can still stay home in Nashville and see that.
Yeah, we've got our own.
Oh my God,
Parthenon.
you guys are right. Oh.
Haha, Roy, we got you.
Yeah, Roy, got you. You're always going to look at the Parthenon, idiot.
Okay. All right. So.
So Roy is an amazing genius.
And obviously we owe like a million thank yous to Roy. He's the man. He talked us up in the beginning and just like kind of
He told me from the beginning, he was like, I believe in like what you guys are doing. Like, I know just from like this little tiny thing you have, I know this is going to be something good.
Yeah.
And he said, you should call another trombone player. And I called this one trombone player who was an ass to me on the phone. I was like, literally, he was like, yeah, send me an email. Like, he was such an ass to me. He tried to like pretend like he was this like big timer. And he was like, yeah, send me an email. And like, I'll see if I can do it, whatever. And the way he was to me on the phone, I never ever emailed him. And then Matt was like, he had been telling me about Diego a little bit here and there. He's like, this guy works at the 5 spot, blah, blah, blah. So we ended up calling Diego. And it's so funny knowing Diego now because I called Diego and I was like so ultra professional on the phone. Like, hi, my name's Alanna. Like, we have a show and like, I know it's last minute, like blah, 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 whatever. Like jump through all these stupid hoops for Diego. And
Which now it sounds like he was not worthy of jumping through.
no, he's totally worthy. I
no,
just think it's funny because now we're just like when we all first kind of met the horn players, it was like, I want you to think this is cool. I want you to think I'm cool. I want you to be into the music. And now it's like we just are a band. So it's just so funny thinking that I approached them like that. And Diego was like, yeah, I'll do it. So he got the charts for all of our songs and then literally just
forgot them on the way to the gig. So
forgot
we
them on the way to
turn around
gig,
and
had
go
to
get
turn
them.
around and go get them. Got on stage literally as we were all getting on stage to play. I had never
We
met
were
him.
sitting there like literally like going like, where's the trombone?
I'm like,
player? Where's
hi,
the trombone player?"
Diego, this is that girl Alanna again who really needs you to come
Yeah, we've
play
got
on
a
the
show in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, and he walked on stage. He was like, hey guys, sorry. And I was like, okay. And then we played a show.
And he killed it.
Yeah, he's amazing.
it was great.
He's crazy. He's so talented.
So let's back up a few. Alanna, you're originally from Boston.
Mm-hmm.
What got you into music?
Well, I think that there are a lot of things I was into when I was growing up. Dancing, singing, acting, all that kind of stuff. And I think that just generally the common thread was that I wanted like attention on me at all times.
Yeah.
And I think that no matter what I would end up doing, I would still always want attention on me 24/7. But I also really do love animals. And like every little kid says they want to be a veterinarian or like work at SeaWorld or something. And I think that if I wasn't a musician, I would be working with animals and like dog rescue or adoption. But, when you're young and you want to get into music or entertainment of anything, you don't want to act or dance. you have people who tell you when you're young, like, you're good at this. And it's like anything in your life. When someone says you're good at this, you're like, oh, okay. And
this is fun. I think I'm going to keep on doing this.
Right. I really like doing this, and people praise me constantly. That's literally why you
instant validation.
That's why you get these like monsters that are like performers, musicians, because their whole lives. Look at me. I'm a monster. I'm horrible. I'm terrible. But I'm a legend. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, well, I don't know if monster is the right word that I would use.
But you get that get that validation, and it feels good, and you feel like you're good at it. And I mean, it's sucks because you're, as an artist, in any way, shape, or form, you're constantly validated by everyone around you, but you live in like this like self-loathing, sort of like, I'm not good enough, I'm never going to be good enough, like,
everything's crap,
everything sucks, how can I make this better? But then you're constantly being validated, and I think it takes a certain type of like psychosis to like be like, I want to continue living this life. And I think that I definitely have that psychosis.
I mean, band guys are generally the most self-consumed people you'll ever meet in your entire life.
For good and bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for both. They're not always the...
Hey, Brad, enough about you.
They're not always the easiest friends to have.
No, they're not. And it's this like line that you constantly toe of like, I'm good, I'm bad, I'm good, I'm bad. People tell you you're good, and then you're like, yeah, I am good. And then someone says you suck, and you're like, oh my God, I am terrible. And like, whatever. Like, I don't know how it happens. Like, it's so cyclical, and it like never stops. And I think that I probably had that from a young age.
Dude, it was the same way with me. It's like, I was like, oh, I can play music. I guess this is what I'll do. Mm-hmm. This is fun.
Yeah, but what was the starting point? What got you?
Oh my God, I was
music?
in like so many things when I was younger. I have an awesome picture of me. I wish I had it in my house here of my very first public musical performance. I was at like a county fair or something, and they had all these like huge 18-wheelers with like one of the walls missing, like horizontally. So like it was just like this like 3-sided like stage, and they had like sound hooked up inside and stuff. And there was like a Chuck E. Cheese one, and there was like a jug band playing and like dancers and stuff. And like they were pulling like little kids up, and there's a picture of me playing a washboard.
Really?
And I was like,
great washboard
everyone's
impression.
like looking at me and like applauding. And the picture of me, I'm like,
you're just stoked out of your mind.
Your face just was like, oh my God.
Like, this is what life is all about right now.
This is the glow.
Just me and the washboard.
This is the glow, and I want to stay in it forever. But then, I did dance when I was young for a long time, and then that transformed into like auditioning for plays and being in musical theater and stuff like that. And I really loved musical theater when I was younger and in high school, but there was something about it that I like didn't fully love. And then the first time I played with a band when I was in high school, I was like, this is what I like. Yeah.
So you attended the Berklee College of Music.
Mm-hmm. And Matt did as well.
Oh, really?
And so did Jared.
Jared, who is the guitar player,
who's MIA,
fiance,
maybe.
We're not telling.
If he plays his cards right.
Who is quoted as saying that he is not here because he had much better things to do.
He'll be so mad when he hears that.
So I'll let him know how much I appreciate it. I'll let him know when I cry myself
Jared,
to sleep tonight.
That's a guy with his head far up.
Oh, geez. Jared, get over yourself, will you? Just kidding. He's the best.
He's probably the nicest one out of everybody.
Yeah, he is the nicest out of all of us. The rest of us are pretty wretched. Jared's actually a little angel.
He's the only one who's pure of heart.
Mm-hmm.
So the original plan, though, was for you and Jared were planning to move to LA after graduation, right? Mm-hmm. How did the whole Nashville thing come about?
I was in Berklee. They do this like a Nashville trip, and it's like a really sought after trip every year. And I had friends who had gone years before me, and so literally there's only so many spots, so everyone just stays up at midnight like refreshing the page trying to like get entry into it. And so I was like, I really want to go on this, and I was like, Jared had graduated before me, and I was like, alumni can go and be part of the events, and like we can just buy tickets and like fly down there together. They do this bus trip, like you can take the bus. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. I'm not taking a 24-hour bus trip from Boston with a bunch of like other children in college. I'm sorry.
That's pretty cocky. What's wrong? It's not
cocky. It's literally like the sheer like claustrophobia and anxiety. It would kill me. I would have a roadside heart attack.
Wait, but you're from Boston. You've lived on a bus or a train your entire life. I don't understand this.
It sucks.
It sucks. And now I live in Nashville where I don't.
Where you can be in your own space in your car and drive around, not have to talk to anybody.
But we flew down, and we were And the Berkeley trip just consists of literally you're pretty much on Music Row the whole time, just like meeting with panels of like publishers and studio musicians. But there was like a small group. One of the teachers from Berkeley was like, hey, I have a chance to go to Vance Powell's studio.
Oh, wow.
At Sputnik. I can only bring like 5 or 6 people, and it's not like an official Berkeley event, so like we have to find our own way to get there. So and we have to do it before all the activities start tomorrow. So we had to get up at like 6:30 in the morning and go to the lobby, and I met this guy who was a Berkeley alumni who had been in touch with his teacher. And he was like, I have a truck, I can drive you guys there, but there's only one seat. And it was me and Jared, our guitar player, and then our friend Brady Custis, who is also a remarkable person. So I got in the truck with this guy in the cab, and then Brady and Jared laid down in the bed, and there was like a cap on it, and they both had cups of coffee, and they were just laying down like in the truck, and we drove from Music Row to Sputnik, and we got to go and hang out and meet Vance and talk about recording and doing all this stuff. And then little things kept happening where I was just like, this is like, for some reason, I would never in my life have ever thought I would live in Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's like, especially not a landlocked state. I just didn't think it would ever happen. And I came down here and there were all these things that just kind of kept like coming up. And I was like, should we just move here instead? And Jared was like, yeah, I think so. And literally we knew 2 people when we moved here 2.5 years ago.
So Matt, when did you guys know each other in college? Did you guys go to school at the same time?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny story. I was the first person that Alanna met 2 different times.
Yeah, the first friend I made in Berkeley and the first friend I made in Nashville, but they were completely unrelated. And we had no contact really in between.
Yeah.
Really?
We met like the first day of school at Berkeley.
Because I asked him to do something for me.
Right. I just happened to have the dorm room right next to the stairwell, and she headed downstairs first. And my dorm room was there, and my door was open. And she's like, hey, man, I need help setting up my computer, blah, blah, blah. She was like wearing pink fishnet stockings or some shit. And had like blue hair.
Yeah, I had blue hair.
It was insane.
And I had a really sweet labrae piercing.
Yeah, that was another thing.
Wow.
You did
I had like a green jewel labrae piercing at the time, I think.
So I went upstairs and I helped her out. And then like we kind of saw each other around. But like, after that, we
had mutual friends.
Yeah, we had mutual friends. And like we were both playing in bands around Boston. Like we kind of like, knew who each other were.
He was in a popular Boston band too. So was I. And like, but our bands never played together or anything.
Played any shows or anything.
Which is so weird.
But
Yeah, not weird to him.
What
obviously.
a passive response.
I don't. No,
He doesn't care.
And so I moved down here, and like me and Alanna had lost touch. We weren't weren't even really acquaintances anymore at that point. And her and Jared came into Mitchell's. I was working at Mitchell's at the time, scooping eggs onto plates and trays
For breakfast.
And I saw her walk through the door, and I was like, man, like, how do I know that girl? I know that girl from somewhere. And
I'm
then,
like here in this place, literally never saw anybody in Nashville that I knew. And Matt's like, is your name Alanna? And I was like, what?
That's amazing.
It came out of no, like somewhere in the deep recesses of my clogged brain came Alana's name.
Yeah.
And I was like, that face and name go together. Like that's that person.
And
Yeah,
then you
that's
reached
how-
out
that's
your
how
hand
memory
and, like,
works.
A drumstick like just flew in your hand, and you just knew. Yeah,
It's just like,
yeah, yeah,
And then I was like,
she was like, hey man, that's pretty cool.
yeah.
and then like I just started singing Animal, and that's how we wrote that song in Mitchell's, like Voltron style. We all just kind of slid in like he was on a little conveyor belt.
Yeah, you don't.
Really funny.
There's not nearly enough Voltron influence on popular songwriting these days. So, okay, but people know you for your big soul sound, but prior to forming Alanna Royale, you were pursuing a lot of different genres, right?
Well, yeah, that's how we actually started playing with Matt, because Jared and I were going to do this like rock thing. We're both really into like grunge music.
Yes.
Like 90s grunge music is one of my favorite genres of all time.
And metal.
And metal.
Favorite grunge bands?
I mean, Stone Temple Pilots. Like Stone Temple Pilots, like 10, like by Pearl Jam, any old Soundgarden. Nirvana, obviously, but like Soundgarden for sure, just because like Soundgarden was just like so ridiculous. And so we wanted to do like a grunge band. We had this whole thing.
Really?
Yeah. We had like a band name, we had songs, we had everything. And that's what I thought that we would kind of be working on down here. Well, first of all, we thought that the first literally, we said this, the first 2 years of us living here would be just us with no friends, working on music by ourselves and not doing anything else.
It's a good goal.
2 years. I don't know why I thought that it would take me 2 years to make a friend. I make a friend every time I step out my door. I literally talk to the postman until he ignores me. And I thought for 2 years, that's like, can you just imagine in like fast motion,
now. It's
the
now.
summer, the winter, the fall going by super fast, and me and Jared just sitting here like not doing anything, like
Really,
withering away.
I
Like
see that in my head as you and Jared just sitting on the couch and all the seasons going on around.
going, yeah.
Classic movie moment.
Yeah, and then like we're covered in cobwebs, and I'm like, music rules. We're cool.
And then I show up, I'm like, hey guys, I got pizza, and you're like, cool.
And Matt's like, hey guys, I'm the key to your future. Let me unlock the
not.
door for you. You're not. You're not.
If you're bringing pizza, you're obviously the key to every successful
Am I right?
venture.
Yeah. If you bring pizza to an Alanna Royale, anything, you are the life of the party.
Pizza is our after show food of choice, big time.
Oh my God. We should be sponsored by Papa John's.
Wow. So Papa John's is the.
It's just the
We're
easiest.
calling you out, Papa John's. Well, Papa John's is like everywhere, and they
It's
are
always
desperate
open.
for your business. They'll deliver at like 8 in the morning. They don't care.
Wow.
It's true.
I feel like I shouldn't.
Pathetic.
They're disgusting. I hate them.
I wish Papa John's could hear this right now.
They
and,
will.
and
Me
too.
deliver the pizza mid podcast because I could destroy
Gosh,
some
I
pizza
hope.
right now.
Gosh, I hope it's a buffalo chicken pizza.
Why does it always come back to food? Why?
It's because food's the best.
But that's what we thought we were going to do.
Yes,
And
grunge
music. And so Matt came over and we played some of these songs. And I was like, Matt, what do you think? You like this? And he was like, I don't know. I'm already in 2 rock bands. I don't really care about being in
And
another rock band.
I had just been doing rock and roll. I was just done with it. It wasn't what I was interested in. And Alanna and Jared had busted out these couple like throwback retro soul sounding songs. And I said, that's what I want to do. If you guys want to do
I remember,
that.
Matt, you were like, specifically were like, you get some horns. We get them in here. We do this. I'll do this. And I was like, okay, I guess we'll just start a band then. And it just literally
The whole thing was serendipitous, and then Gabe came into the picture like almost around the same exact time, right?
Yeah, and I remember the first thing, Gabe, our bass player, I had met him, and I had mentioned I was going to a Charles Bradley show, and he said, I can't go to the show, but they're putting out this 40, he's putting out this 45, will you pick up this 45 for me right at the show? And I was like, hell yeah, dude. Went to the show, had the 45 in my hand. I literally remember this. I remember looking at the 45 being like, why am I holding this? Put it back, did not buy it.
Whoa.
I couldn't remember what I was supposed to do with it. Like I knew.
Oh, it wasn't you just kind of being a douchebag?
No.
But it was though.
I mean,
No.
secretly in my mind, everything you do kind of has like an underlying
I'm gonna get this
thought
guy
process.
45.
Literally, I was holding it at the merch stand and I put it down and I was like, what am I looking at this for?
Yeah, that's funny.
And then the next day I saw Gabe and I was like, ooh. And Gabe didn't hold it against me. He still joined the band. Well, I guess we weren't even a band at the point. We were just like, yo, come over and play. And it just like happened. I mean, like seriously, so fast. That was in like May, June, July. And by August, we were playing a show. And that June of that same year, we were at Bonnaroo performing.
You guys played the BMI stage.
Yeah. And I just was like, it just kind of like went and fast forward. I don't even know what happened in between then. It was like, I remember being upstairs being like, this is Matt, this is Gabe. These are my new friends, I guess. And then less than a year later, we're playing at Bonnaroo. And I'm like, what happened? What just happened in this year? It was weird.
Yeah.
I don't really remember anything.
But it makes sense because one of the things that everybody always goes back to is you just have this total hustler mentality. Yeah, and that was
Who, me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
I am a hustler. I will push my own grandmother to the ground if it means I will ascend to the next level.
No, I love it. I mean, I remember the first time I met you, I was hanging out at the Village Pub with the guys from Vinyl Thief.
Yes.
And you came up and...
Oh, I was weird that night, I think.
But by weird, you mean really awesome.
And myself.
Exactly.
I feel like I said a lot of weird things.
No, it was so abrasive and bold, and I was like, this person, you don't meet somebody like this every day. And I love that because you were completely,
Thank you.
And that's kind of your MO, is that you're completely honest about who you are and who you're not. And you don't mind, talking to the mailman until he drives off. It's just that kind of personality. But that obviously has played a huge role in the band's success, because even before you guys played shows, you were building up a fan base just built off that sort of hustler attitude without having any music out.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's definitely an advantage. I also I feel like there's just something very Nashville about me, very like non-traditional Nashville. And I think that a lot of people realize that and just kind of were like, whoa. And I think, sometimes it works against you. Sometimes
Yeah.
people are
Oh,
like,
big time.
sometimes people are like,
What?
this girl's annoying.
So what is that?
I don't know, man.
What's the situation?
When I moved down here, it's kind of just the same thing. Like I was born and raised in Massachusetts, and like just moving down here, it's a different vibe. People think different things about how you say what you say. And I'm not casting judgment on. It's just a cultural
And it's
thing.
not always just a Nashville thing. I mean, like anytime you're super comfortable with who you are
Yeah.
and sort of unapologetic, people take issue with that for some reason. I don't know why. Like if we could all just like not be that way, but like some people are just like they take you being comfortable with yourself as sort of like a cockiness. When it's like, nope, that's literally just like leveling everything out. And people are like, ugh, just like so turned off by it. But it's just like, I'm not ever going to change.
Now, Mike Grimes, who is
that guy.
Nashville
Mr.
legend.
Michael Grimes.
Well, now let me tell you what I think about him.
Yeah.
I love him.
Well,
He's the best.
He's the best.
love Mike Grimes, co-owner of the best record store in the country, Grimey's, as well as
Amen.
The Basement. How he's been a massive supporter of the band since day one. What has that support meant to you guys, or how was it pivotal to you guys really launching?
I think that Mike is like the mayor of Nashville.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
He really is. I feel like everybody starts at the basement. Even if you start at the 5 spot, you start at the basement too. It's like
Well, it's just not. It's on the other side of the river.
it's the other place, but still, like you go to the basement. I feel like a lot of people play their first 5 shows. One of them is at the basement.
When I moved to Nashville, the first show I went to was at the basement. It's the place.
You just go there and you see, you see this. It's like a stage in someone's career. It's like that's like the first stage of everyone's career in Nashville. I feel like, as far as like our community goes,
Totally.
And we were very lucky to like to do the same thing. And Mike Grimes saw us,
And like Mike's always been doing his.
he's
own
always
thing.
there. He's never not there. So everything in Nashville passes by his like filter.
Yeah.
It's like a Mike Grimes filter, and whatever he decides to like pick out, you just know it's going to be quality, and there's going to be something like genuine and believable about it. And when you're in a city for as long as he's been here, and you've held that position for so long, and you've just been you're a staple in the community, everybody listens to you.
Yeah.
And he's a tastemaker, and he doesn't control things, but he definitely like steers the ship a little bit.
Absolutely. He's not cocky. He's just an absolute music fan.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what I identify with him about, is just that literally that's everything that motivates him. Like when I hear him get excited, about you guys, or when I've heard him get excited about other bands, like he's genuinely stoked.
So happy.
Like
Mike has sold me on going to a show that for a band I didn't even like,
really?
because he was like, man, they're so great. And I was like, all right. And I stayed and I watched the whole set and I didn't even like it. But I was like, Mike Grimes like has that kind of power. Where he's like, even if I know I've seen it and I don't like it, I will stay and I'll watch a second show. Because if Mike sees something in it, that it's got to be real. It's got to be good somehow.
Absolutely. So you're listening to the No Country podcast. My name is Brad. I'm joined by Alanna and Matt from Alanna Royale. We're talking about the band's upcoming full-length debut, Achilles, which hits stores September 16th. Let's go ahead and talk about the album a little bit. You guys released an EP, Bless Her Heart EP. Last year?
Yeah. January 2014. Oh my God. It hasn't
2014? So it
No.
hasn't even been
2013.
2013.
Yeah.
Yeah. January 2013. Mm-hmm. We had been playing shows for since the August before that.
Yeah. So about 6 months.
Yeah, 5 or 6 months.
So you guys went through this whirlwind, played Bonnaroo, played Austin City Limits. You've gotten so much coverage through NPR and all these other just incredible opportunities. But now with this full length Achilles, there was a pretty scary moment that nearly prevented the album from even being made. What happened?
I definitely stalled things a bit. At the first show when we went to ACL this past year, we were in Texas for a week and we were doing a Red Bull Sound Select show and a radio performance at UT, and then we had our show at ACL. And the first night we were there, I got off stage and my voice just kind of like was gone. It was just like instant hoarseness.
Wow.
Like I had just been singing 20 minutes ago and then it was gone. And I didn't know what was going on. I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm tired. You know, like your voice is a tricky thing. It's controlled by everything else, not only outside of your body, but inside your body too. And it takes a lot of like body awareness to like really keep your voice actually like in good shape. Even when you hear a good singer, their voice might not be in good shape, and it's a lot. So we were there for a week and my voice just like didn't come back. And we had to go to UT and
We were doing gigs.
Oh my God, it was horrible.
We were doing gigs after your voice was gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well, I thought it was just like, I mean, I didn't really know the severity of the situation. And it was very stressful, but I didn't really know what was going on. And then, of course, the day we were supposed to play ACL, there was a flood overnight.
We got rained out.
Zilker Park was flooded, and Zilker Park of Austin told ACL, like, we can't do this. It literally, like, rained for hours overnight,
Like
shaking the house
torrential.
we were staying in. I mean, it was
Man.
crazy. Everything was floating. And then Austin just turned into like South by Southwest. It was like every club was opening up being like, okay, I can host this band. I can host this band. Where can we put these people?
cool.
Okay. Like it was cool. But for a little band, I was like, well, where are we going to go? Like, what are we going to do? No, we're not Atoms for Peace. No one's calling us being like, well, where are you guys going to play? And then I did something actually really funny. When I got like an email from ACO, like a production manager, and I replied all on accident.
Really?
So all of these agents, like, so many people, all of a sudden this email was opened up to like all these people. And the guy was like, you kind of caused a shitstorm by doing that. And I was like, I literally was doing it from my phone. I didn't even realize I was replying all. I'm really sorry. It was really annoying. I'm stupid. But so I knew a girl in Austin who's a promoter who was from Connecticut. She knew my old band. And so she was hitting me up like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I was just trying to contact other agents and other tour managers, like, what's going on? Can we try and play something? And she said, why don't you guys play this other show at this place called Speakeasy? And they set up things for us and blah, blah, blah. And so we ended up playing to, geez, so many people. I didn't think that anybody would show up.
Place was packed to the walls because everybody thought Phoenix was going to play.
Phoenix was there.
Phoenix was there hanging out.
Phoenix watched our whole set.
Really?
They were so nice. I saw them in the VIP like rafters. They watched our whole
Super
set.
cool dudes.
So sweet. They told me that seeing our band made their trip like worthwhile. They flew in from Mexico City that day.
But the thing is, like, it was a good sized bar, but everybody thought Phoenix was going to play, and it was us, and the headliner was J.C. Brooks and the Uptown Sound
From Chicago.
Yeah.
Who are friends of ours. And then so
this is also while Alanna's voice is destroyed.
And so we played and it was like good. It was a good enough show. My voice was like whatever. It wasn't great, but it wasn't like horrible.
Got through the gig for sure.
Yeah. And then I think it was like another like maybe 6 or 8 weeks before I actually went to Vanderbilt and got diagnosed that I had hemorrhaged a vocal cord.
And we were still playing shows
And getting
rehearsing, writing.
Getting asked to play more shows, getting ready to like record the record. And so like,
studio time was booked, I think, at that
yep.
point.
And we had already like signed on with our producer, and one of my vocal cords was like full of blood. That was visible
Whoa.
like from the outside. And it was really bad. It was very traumatic.
It was terrifying.
Yeah, it was really bad. And I got to like work with like a speech therapist and a physical therapist because a lot of my vocal issues were coming from like the muscles attached to my vocal cords. They weren't firing on all cylinders, and there was like a lot of tension and just causing me to like put my vocal cords in a bad place over and over. So we were supposed to start recording in January.
Yeah, and there was like literally no time to take any time off.
No,
like,
I mean-
we had shows, and then like, I mean, also we all work in the service industry, you know, so it's like you go to work and your job is to talk to people all day.
And when you're an up and coming band, you don't want to say no to anything because you never know when that like life changing experience can happen or career changing experience can happen. And we got asked to do support for Lee Fields and the Expressions, Trombone Shorty, Claire Brown, the Bangin' Rockettes from Australia, who are like one of my favorite bands. All this kept happening and getting ready for this record, and I just kept.
And
being
we
like,
were writing and rehearsing 3 days a week. Like it was insane. The workload was
Wait,
insane.
you were doing this after you got diagnosed?
yeah, because there just wasn't. I mean, looking back, I know it sounds crazy, but there was no time to stop. Like when you have this like momentum, it's terrifying to think that you are going to just stop it. And like, what if the momentum doesn't pick back up? And if you tell people you busted a vocal cord, are you going to get booked again? Are you going to like, is anyone going to be like, you know, and we never canceled any shows. I went on, the shows we did Trombone Shorty, they were all great. And the very last one, I was like, I can't go out on stage. We did Rhythm and Blooms Festival in Knoxville. We were opening the main stage for the Wild Feathers, Shovels and Rope, and Langhorne Slim.
Yeah.
We were the first band to open the main stage. And like, I was on the phone with the promoter, like less than an hour before we went on. And I was like, I just don't think I can do this. My voice is shot. And we ended up playing anyways. And it's just like, I don't know, it's indicative of my personality to just be like, well, you're just going to fucking go out there and do it. And you made a commitment and you're going to follow through on it. And, you know, we stuck together. It was really hard. It caused a lot of stress. I mean, for me emotionally, just like my instrument being broken, it was really hard to deal with. And, you know, it made me a basket case. It made me very like constantly stressed out.
So then recording started.
And
Wait, so how long did you delay the start of recording?
we didn't.
We couldn't. Because Andrea's schedule was so...
Andrea literally flies between like Australia and these other countries to record.
At the time, he was really busy. And like, so like this was the time that had been made. There was like not an option to move it. You know, if we wanted to move it, we're talking about like looking at like another 5 or 6 months.
And months of delay. So we went in the studio. Well, we started like a couple of days after our single release show. We did a single release show at Mercy Lounge in January. And then like a couple of days after that, 2 or 3 days, we went into the studio.
The last week of January, and we went into the studio. And then pretty much what we did is we just laid down all the instrumental tracks.
But we kept trying to do vocal tracks.
Trying to do vocals, and it just like wasn't happening. And then finally, like it got to the point where it was like, you know, listen, you need to take a break.
I can't like, it just feels so shitty to bring everyone in to work and then like know that you can't work. And, you know, we specifically wanted to work with Andrea because we like the way he made records, and we know that he has this like great personality, and a little bit of him goes into every record. And when it's
I would
like,
say a lot of them goes into every record.
Yeah. I meant like a little bit of his own personality.
Yeah.
And
that guy works so hard.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Unreal.
But like I feel like all of the records he makes are really different, but you can tell like when Andrea's like in the record, and I wanted to work with someone in a way I'd never worked with anyone before. And so getting used to working all analog, no computers, no editing. I wasn't tracking vocals the same way I was used to doing them before in my life. I had learned to record vocals from Mike Birnbaum and Chris Bittner, the producers of Code in Cambria. And they were the first producers I ever worked with, and in my old band. So, you know, we were trying these new things, and Andrea was like, I just don't want to keep going if we can't like hear the vocal. How can we keep building the track if I have no idea what the vocals sound like? Like we can't, you know, this is like, that's the main thing. And I was eventually it was like,
Eventually we just had to stop.
Mm-hmm. And I had delayed recording vocals for so long, and then eventually it was like, I just can't I can't keep doing this. I feel like I'm wasting everyone's time. And it was so hard because like we always try to, even though like we're dumbasses and we're fucking stupid, but like we are professional in every way that we possibly can be. You know, we always try and show up on time and do our thing and always be prepared and like be a good band to work with. We work really hard for that reputation. Yeah. And to come into a new relationship, a new working relationship, especially with something as big as like making a record and having to look at Andrea and like never being able to like come through. It was devastating. Yeah. It was really hard to like face him and say, like, just saying the words I can't sucks, you know, it's really hard. And it just like put me in a really bad place. But Andrea was like, let's not do this. Like, obviously this sucks, you know, like, let's not put you through this. Like, everyone is stressed out and upset. So let's not do this. And we took a little bit of time off from it. And it was...
How long did you take off?
It took us 6 months to record 10 songs, which is like so crazy to say. But I mean...
Well, we started, we got most of it done. And then like... we still had shows booked.
That was the other thing is we still had a show schedule going.
But the thing is, we just slowed way back, and it finally was like, listen, like the most important thing we got to do right now is like make this record, you know. So,
yeah, we started in January, and even then in March we played the Daniel Ellsworth and the Great Lakes album release show at Exit Inn, and then the next day or the 2 days later went back in the studio, and of course like. I wasn't ready, and I thought I would be, and I felt I had been feeling better over the last 3 months, and then like in March again, it just like I wasn't fully healed yet. So,
and I think it ruptured again, didn't it?
the bleeding
It
had
wasn't
like
as bad as the first time.
yeah, the
but,
bleeding
like,
had stopped, but it wasn't like fully healed. So essentially it was like, okay, you know what? You need to be an adult about this. You need to admit that like, you know what? If you're like a professional football player and you hurt your rotator cuff, you're not going to be like, okay, well, I'll just take 2 weeks off. It's like, no, you have to like, this is literally your life. This is like your livelihood. This is your dream. This is everything you wanted. If you really want it to work, you got to be, it's sometimes like saying I can't is the most mature thing you can do. And at this point, it's like not just about me. It's about 5 other people in this band and a producer and fans and family and people who are invested in this record who are like, we want you to be good. So just like say you can't. And we took a step back and
everybody was fine. Everybody was fine with it. Like it wasn't a thing, you know. It's just like rest and get better. And
it sucked
she got
though.
better. Yeah, but you got better. She got better.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
So let's talk about Andrea. He produced. I mean, he's known most notably for his work with Alabama Shakes. Why specifically him, and what exactly did he bring to the record?
Well, you know, everyone in East Nashville, if you're going to make a record, is like, oh, you should work with Andrea, because Andrea's just buds with everybody. He's got such an amazing personality, incredible work ethic, a great ear. He's super talented musician. So, you know, it's just like one of those things where it's like, okay, well, why? Like, I get it. Obviously, Andrea's a great dude and he's a great producer, but like, why us? And I remember specifically telling Jacob Jones, like, oh, maybe we'll go to New York and like make this record. And he was like, if you leave Nashville to make a record, you're an idiot. I think Jacob Jones literally called me an idiot. He was like, why would
Wouldn't have been the first time.
He was like, why would you leave Nashville to make a record? This is the best place right now to make a record. And I was like, I know. So we went and met with Andrea, and Andrea is just like such an interesting personality. For the first minute you meet him, like Andrea is one of the few people I think I've ever met where I'm like, I really hope this guy thinks I'm cool. I think everyone feels that way because he's just effortlessly
And he
cool.
does, but the thing is, he does think everybody is cool.
Yeah, he does.
Awesome.
He's not like a judgmental mean girl. He really is cool with everybody, but I'm just like, I hope Andrea thinks I'm cool. Like, am I being cool? What am I doing? What am I doing with my arm? Do I always do this with my arm? I don't want to stop doing that thing with your arm. You know,
Do these Union Jack pants look good?
Yeah, that was my thought. Where are my Union Jack pants?
Can Andrea tell I got my nails filled in yesterday? Like, you know, you think he's cool. And so we went there and it's like, okay, yeah, you made the Alabama Shakes record. He's worked with Hooray for the Riff Raff forever. Alinda, who is such an excellent musician also. Fly Golden Eagle, Majestico, Clear Plastic Mask, like all these awesome bands.
Really great bands. I thought his discography and like Buffalo Clover was another one. Like so many great bands.
So you look at all these awesome bands and you're like, are we like good like this? Are we cool like this? Like, you know, are we? And that's what I thought. And we went there and we listened to some records and talked about just like what we wanted and stuff. And he was like, yeah, man, like you guys are cool. Let's do it. And then I was like, I know, but like, can you get down like with us the way we want to be musically, like soulful and funky and this and that? And he played us some tracks of a band that I love very much that he had worked with briefly. And when I heard those tracks, I was like, okay.
It was pretty serendipitous.
Yeah, like he had just worked with this band, literally, and that most people have never heard of. That I love.
What's the band?
I don't know if we can.
I don't know if we can
talk
say.
about it, but I know. I'm sorry.
The podcast is over, guys.
Is now when I have to leave? Do I have to leave now?
Bye, Matt.
Am I getting kicked out now?
Yeah, there's
Get
your
the heck
cue.
out of here. But I heard this. I heard these songs, and I was like, whew.
But it made the group that he was working with it transferred so beautifully. Right?
And I knew that this would be like the right decision, and I'm so glad we did because he's amazing, and I think the record's amazing, and
we're really psyched about the record. The record is awesome.
P.S. We love the record, and but Andrea said that we should have called the record "Learning to Get Along" because Andrea and I. Like, I love Andrea. He's awesome. But when you're just working with someone new, you just got to learn how to work with them, like how they do things, how you do things. And even when everything is like positive, it's still a learning experience. And it's like moving in with your girl and being like, I love you. But like, I never do this thing that you always do in the house. It doesn't even really bother me. It's just something that you do differently. And that's kind of like, something that you guys have to learn to do. And so Andrea, you know, I remember being in the vocal booth and singing this part Andrea wanted me to try. And I did it a couple times and I was like, Andrea, and I thought to myself about so many bands who have cut records that in the end they were like, I should have spoke up. Like I wasn't happy. I didn't like the producer. I didn't like his ideas or whatever. You know, I didn't like this one thing and now it's always going to be on this record. And I hate it. And I just wanted to speak up and I was like, Andrea, he was like, what's up? And I was like, I really hate this part. I don't want to sing it. And he was like, okay. And I was like, oh, okay. And there were even times, there was a time where
But then there was times where it's like, oh, that's really good, right? And he's like, oh, let's try another one.
let's do something else. And oh God, and there was that one part that he made me sing over and over. And he was like, it's Alanna, you're just kind of a little late. And I was like, let's do it again. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. And
For what track?
In my head, for the very first track of the record.
No, the very opening line.
The very first note of the song, he was like, Alanna, it's just not hitting, like rhythmically, it's off. And I was like, in my mind, it sounds 100%. And he was like, do it again. Do it again. And I was like, I literally had to take my headphones off and be like, oh my God. Like, it wasn't even Andre. It was just like, I'm so frustrated. And like, he never loses his cool. He's literally just like, cool.
Constantly eating candy and drinking coffee.
Yeah.
Candy of choice.
Ooh, what did we...
It was different every time.
I feel like it's across his studio's across the street from a gas station, and that was really dangerous because a lot of junk food was consumed.
Yeah,
in
a lot
the
of
making of this
Funyuns
record.
by me and Jared.
Really?
Oh, gross! Not me. Can I just say for the record, I did not eat Funyuns.
She did eat Funyuns.
That's pretty
She ate a lot of those Funyuns.
I fucking did not.
Yes, you
I
did.
You're
Hate
wearing a
Funyuns.
Funyun t-shirt right now. Let's just be honest. Way to play that off. You're definitely you're definitely devouring Funyuns right now.
Andre he wasn't a big chocolate guy. He was more definitely into like the fruity candies.
Like Starburst and stuff like that.
Starburst
that's
and like
my
Jolly
MO as well.
Ranchers,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, stuff like that.
Airheads maybe.
But we drank a lot of coffee.
An
And,
espresso.
And it's just really intimidating being with Andrea because he is so talented and he has worked with so many cool people, and everyone that I think that he has a deep relationship with is very cool. And so to think that like you might be in that, it's very flattering. You feel really good working with him, knowing that he's one of those people that like when he respects you, you take it very seriously. I think
he's that good at what he does.
yeah, and I think he does.
He's one of them. Like, I mean, we went to music school. Like, me and Alanna both have had, and everybody in the band has had a lot of opportunities to work with so many great musicians, so many talented people. And like Andre is like definitely at the top of the list. Like for me personally, like he's that talented.
He's the most oddly charming person I've ever met in my life. I don't know if anyone's ever described Andre as a charming, but he really is. He's a very electric, like magnetic person, and he just is who he is, and we vibed so well. I think that comes through a lot in the record.
So you talk about good players. You guys actually had a lot of awesome people play on the record. Talk about that a little bit.
So we had Jamie Babbitt and Maureen Murphy sing backgrounds on the record, and they are just two people that I've in my short time in Nashville have really changed me as a musician and just influenced me as a woman in general. Jamie was a background singer for Leon Russell, and she started in New York hanging with fucking Living Color. Called The Personality.
Yes.
She's like, she was like, yo, I used to wear like a fucking like wet glove, like or whatever, like body glove, like surfing suit, like with like combat boots around like fucking New York, like when we thought we were fucking cool as shit, because that's how they dressed and living in that band. And she's like, I used to wear all sorts of crazy shit, and she came up in New York singing with everybody, and she is sang with Sam Moore from Sam and Dave. She's like toured Japan with them. She's excellent. She's definitely one of my mentors. And then Maureen Murphy, she sang on the new Fish record, Fuego. She sang the national anthem of the CMAs last year. She probably
she got a really big gig. She was the main vocalist on the BioShock sequel that came out, the video game.
Wow,
which was a pretty big deal. Yeah,
she's probably the most underrated singer in Nashville. She should be a fucking superstar.
She's an absolute beast.
The first time I saw her perform, I was like all hairs straight up, like on the edge of my seat, like jaw on the floor. She's not only like the most amazing singer, but she's the sweetest person. And maybe she needs to learn to be a little more awful like me.
More bad.
She needs to be horrible. Like if I could sing like Maureen, I'd be worse than Mariah Carey. I'd be like the worst diva of all time.
That does not that's not a revelation. I feel like that's fully expected. This wasn't
only blue M&Ms
story that you just revealed.
Like I want to be covered in furs and puppies at all times. And
never have to take off the sunglasses. Never.
Ever. And also, but I don't want to marry Nick Cannon. Ew, he's like a man baby.
Well, unfortunately, I think they're getting a divorce.
They are. She's better off.
Okay, who else played on the record?
So this guy Peter Keys came in and just kind of like blew my fucking mind. Like
All
in
of us, though.
30 seconds. Peter is the like ridiculous. He plays keys for Leonard Skinner.
Now.
Leonard Skinner, the name sounds familiar.
Yeah.
He was also in a little band called Parliament
Funkadelic, who I
For a
think
while.
might have played recently with Prince. So maybe if you guys like dig deep, you'll find some.
Wait. This guy played with both Parliament and Leonard Skinner?
I know, dude, that's fucked up, right?
And
That's
he came
something.
And, yo,
It's
he
like-
came and played keys on our dumb little record. Like,
Yeah, like what the hell? And Peter is just like the most like hilarious personality. He like when he sits down to the organ, he had to take off a ring on like all of his fingers. He had like a little treasure trove, like pirate's booty of like rings on the side of the organ. He has a long ponytail. He's got a Funkadelic tattoo with a Zappa tattoo and then a Leonard Skinner tattoo. And he's just like rad as shit. He's just like a dude. Like he's just one of those people, much like Andrea, that's like, you're fucking crazy talented. You're super awesome. And I'm not worthy to be in your presence, yet somehow here we are.
here we are. And he came down and just laid down some of the heavy
like
funk.
literally started playing and I like had tears in my eyes. I was like, I can't believe this is really happening. Like this guy is so talented. And he was just jamming away. Like, I love this shit, man. This shit is good. And I was like, what?
What?
No, it's not.
Hey, we're happy with it.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want. He was like, what are y'all thinking? I was like, you just do whatever. I don't even
That's
care
pretty much
you
what
do.
it was. And then like there was really no, like we weren't about to start telling Peter Keys what he should play and what he shouldn't play.
We were like, here's the song, whatever
it
you
was just
feel
kind
is
of like,
good.
yeah, that sounded cool, or heck, do it again, man. There's probably be even more awesome next time.
I
You
know.
like it wasn't anything like.
And then Mitch from Fly Golden Eagle came in and played organ, and then Mort from Los Colones came in and did some percussion. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, they're lucky to have both those guys. Like Mitch had a totally different approach to the keys and like came in with this just completely different vibe and like really kind of gave those tracks that he played on like what they needed. And
Totally a different perspective. And that's the thing about like having other studio musicians. It's like you get this like perspective on your song. You just it's like rearranging furniture in your house. You can do it over and over, but then someone else comes in and like put that lamp over there and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's really the best thing ever.
Mort was the same way. He came in, he had never heard any of the songs before and just kind of sat there and like did a couple passes and just like settled right in there and just like did exactly what.
And he's crazy, super
needed
talented
to
too.
do.
Mort is an excellent percussionist
drummer.
and an excellent drummer.
So Animal and Rock and Stone, two songs that were originally on the Bless Her Heart EP, you re-recorded for Achilles. Why the decision to bring those two songs over?
We actually recorded all the songs from Bless Her Heart except for City Limits.
We recorded a lot of songs for this record and only ended up choosing 10. First of all, 10 songs is like a totally decent amount of songs for a record. It's our record is really short. It's only like 45 minutes long and you literally can listen to it and I feel like it goes by fast enough that it's not like, I mean, there are a lot of records that have been put out. I mean, even like Stevie Wonder's guilty of that. Like, Jesus Christ, why so many songs? Like, not necessary.
We also didn't like even have that much more. Like we did whittle it down to 10. But we pretty much went in and kind of just recorded like
Everything we had.
all the material we had, and it was like, well, this is where we're gonna do this.
Because you never know how things are going to
Totally.
like flesh out. You never know. You could go in there, I mean, and record a song that you like didn't really think that was that great. And that's why you have a producer there to sit and be like, you know what? There's like good stuff in this song. Maybe we're just not doing it right. Let's like take it from another perspective. So we did the 10 songs and Animal was in there because I just think Animal is a great song. I think a lot of people really love that song. And in the broad scheme of things, not a lot of people in the world have ever heard that song.
So unoriginal. This 2-bit pony boy acts and got me rolled, and it's undeniable. Go ahead, sing that sad song. It's all you know. But if you're gonna act like an animal, it ain't my fault.
We decided it deserved a second life. And Rock and Stone is just always going to be.
That was just I mean, and then just for me personally, that's just one of my favorite songs that we've kind of written together. And
When we first started writing songs, the lyrical content of our songs was very inconsistent. Because I didn't know if we were going to be like just like a party band and just like sing about like whatever, shaking your ass or having a good time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, this boy, he's terrible to me. Like, I don't know, whatever. But I also have like another side of me where it's like, I want to be more introspective and I want to write lyrics that are a little bit heavier and a little bit deeper. And I just didn't know in the beginning where we were going. And as I kept writing this record, the lyrics definitely got like more and more, like some of the songs are a little more superficial than the others. And I think that by the time we get to the second record, shit's going to be like a little bit deeper. But Animal had like a pretty significant lyrical meaning to me, but Rockin' Stone, I think will always be like a very, Rockin' Stone is a very like upfront, like autobiographical song. And it like is very deep and meaningful to me.
Take time, you know I will get mine. You know I've got words and soul, so you know I'll never stop singing. Take time, you know I will get mine. You know I crush rock and stone. I always come out swinging. No.
Can you give some insight on just the story behind the song?
I mean, I feel like nothing in my life has ever come like very easily. I've always had to fucking bend over backwards for everything I have, and I'm extremely grateful for what I have. But like anytime I get any good thing in my life, I always can't help but think about like how much shit I had to eat to get it. And like Rockin' Stone is just about like that, like not everybody has that within them to just like keep eating shit and like keep going. And even like it was just indicative of like, you know, this record, like putting this record together and like still having like such a fucking hurdle to get over. And just like by the time I sang that last note on that record, oh boy, I thought I was just like gonna die because
I think
just,
it was one of the last things we did too.
yeah, it's just like I just was done, and it was like another hurdle, and it was like, cool, that's done, and I know that I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna be standing in front of another mountain that I'm gonna have to like climb over. And Rockin' Stone is just sort of like the summation of just like just keep on moving.
Yeah. Wow. My favorite, I was telling you before the podcast, I would probably say my favorite track from Achilles is 18.
So who am I to know what's written in the stars, what's written in your eyes? I don't know. Oh, baby, I don't know. No.
Nothing kind of sounds like it on the album. It's got this very, very summer, very almost bouncy sort of feel to it. But
It's very happy.
I love it because it's, especially when you have such an aggressive personality yourself, and that comes through on tracks like Big Time and a track like Rockin' Stone, you know, like some of those heavier things. But just to hear, you've got such a powerful voice, just to hear the sweetness really come through. What how did that song come together?
We
That was like, it kind of came from, I think Jared was listening to a lot of like Lee Fields at the time. And I think it just like, it was just one of those like, you know, when you just get to band practice and everybody's setting up and you just kind of start jamming on an idea
around
or whatever. And Jared was just kind of playing that guitar riff, and then like, you know,
it is like we fumbled into it. Like it just literally happened.
Yeah.
But the lyrical content for that song, like the song is just like a happy, like great, awesome, feel good song. And I never really write songs like that. I never really write just like a, you know, woo, like sunshine and lollipop song. And that song really is that, because for as many Rockin' Stones as there are in my life, there's definitely like a lot of 18s too. And I think it's really awesome that we were able to put them all in one record. I mean, I feel like for you to say you love that song and for other people to say like they love Rockin' Stone, then those are just like the polar opposite mentalities and feels. I feel like that's like a compliment to us that we were able to kind of summate them all together.
pull both of them off.
Yeah, it totally is.
Yeah.
You're listening to the No Country Podcast. I'm joined by Alanna and Matt from Alanna Royale. We're talking about the band's full-length debut, Achilles, which is coming out September 16th. Now, the album's got that total analog warmth, that neo-soul sound, but it resists any urge to bring in any sort of modern influences. Are you concerned that you may be written off as a revivalist at all?
Can I just say I hate the term blue-eyed soul real quick before we get into this?
You can absolutely say.
We had a discussion about this the other day, and like blue-eyed soul, I feel like is just a cop-out to describe our band, because first of all, soul music is not about blue eyes or brown eyes or black skin or white skin, and it's not my fucking fault that I'm white. It doesn't mean that I don't have something to sing about, and it doesn't mean that I don't have soul. So I just hate that division, and I just needed to like put that out there before we went into this.
Yeah, great.
Because it really fucking pisses me off. I think it's hilarious when people are like, whoa, I thought you were a black girl. Like, that's literally happened to me so many times where people will be like, oh, I totally thought you were black, but you're white. And I'm like, yeah. Oh, okay. So where do we go from here?
So you're a racist.
Do you still want to talk to
Can
me?
we hang out still?
Does
Is
this
that
change
cool?
anything? Anyways. But like, it's hard to play a certain kind of music, to play any music and avoid comparison. Like, comparison is just like how we diss things and how we compliment things. You can be like this, like when someone says like Muse and Radiohead and they compare the two, I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. You obviously have not heard both these bands in their entirety because they're not the same band.
Yeah.
And people use that to diss, and then people use to compare. Like, oh, I like Alanna Royale. They're kind of like Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. It's like,
Yeah.
we're really not.
Yeah, exactly.
We're really not. Sharon Jones has like the fucking stranglehold on this classic sound, this classic like
That's just Daptone in general.
that they created like their own thing. Like, they are their own thing. We can't fucking compare to that.
But I don't know. I think just like because of the genre that this music is in, it's like I don't think we're ever going to even be able to escape any sort of throwback. And I
Because it's such a history of music in
and
this country.
I don't mind. I think it's part of growing up in America and being an American and being of this land and all of that. It was music. I'm serious. It was music that was invented here and that like is of
I'm
our
proud
people.
to be an American, cause at least I know I'm free.
Man, that brings that. You know what that reminds
What just
me
happened?
of? You just brought back a total childhood memory, because I'm from Georgia and they have a
Otis Redding.
They have a Stone Mountain. There's a place called Stone Mountain, and every summer they do these laser shows on the mountain, and it's like these epic like
America.
Yeah, America. There's like the "Put Me in Coach" by John Fogerty.
Dude, that is the worst song ever written. What happened, John Fogerty? Oh my God, listen, I love John Fogerty so much.
Credence rules.
Because
Yeah,
Creedence
okay,
is like the
good.
best band of all time.
Yeah.
Like, they're fucking so amazing. And also, which is one of my records, Creedence Clearwater, Cosmo Factory. And
oh man,
they like, why that song was like so horrible. Like, oh God, why did it happen? You know,
Yeah.
it reminds
Come
me of
on,
this-
John.
It reminds me of the Scott Stapp Marlin song.
whoa. Let's not say anything we're gonna regret. Let's not compare. I mean, John may have had a few slip ups. Let's not throw in the Scott Staff part.
I think-
If John Fogerty is listening to this, I hope he forgives me for what I just said, but I do stand by it.
But I guess I'll
As you
say
should.
these at the Stone Mountain, they would close out the laser show with "I'm Proud to Be American" with this epic fireworks display.
Because that's what you do
That's
when
what
that
Americans
song
do
comes
in
on.
this country.
is You put fucking fireworks to that song.
yeah.
I want to attach like children to the fireworks and set them off, and the children can all sing them as they soar through the air.
Okay, yeah, that's not the creepiest thing I've ever heard.
I was like envisioning it
Yeah.
around my head.
Yeah,
It's
I'm not
terrible.
really disturbed right now. This isn't. All
Children
right, just
strapped
think
to rock.
Union Jack pants. Just get back to the essence of what we're about here. But here's the thing though, is you just said it yourself that you're influenced by. I hear your Achilles, and I don't hear Soundgarden. I don't hear all these massive influences, but the album, and it's interesting. We're sitting here, we're looking at a Raphael Sadiq album, which is, I would totally put you guys in the same league in terms of.
Thank you, because he's awesome.
Yeah,
He's
that
incredible.
rules.
But in terms of that sound, though, like, is going towards
But hold
album.
on. Let's look at this though, Matt. If you hold this, okay,
I have two microphones now.
right next to it is Ghostface Killah,
Yeah, but it's also Adrian Young, who
Sly
has
Stone, fresh.
Sly Stone, ODB.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Method Man.
that's a nice mix.
So you have like a all these different things that definitely make us who we are. Because, you know, when you say you listen to 18 and you hear this like sweet, sunshiny song, and that like makes an impact on you because you're like, oh, well, this other sound, it's like ODB makes crazy hip hop records, but then like he duos with Mariah and he makes like the Summer Jam of the Century, and that like ability to like send the audience to different places. That's what I get from like all of this.
Yeah. So without album number 2, I mean, are you content with staying in this sort of throwback sound, or would you feel comfortable, you know, throwing in all these other influences that are...
Throw them in.
Yeah. I mean...
Let God sort them out.
Okay, yeah. He's a good matchmaker.
Yeah, he did a stellar job with Adam and Eve.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Look at
But
that.
like another artist that I think like we could say that we're collectively into is like Janelle Monáe, who's like doing this like crazy weird future soul thing. I think it's just I just think the reason why it sounds throwback right now is that's just because that's what's coming out when we touch our instruments at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't mind the comparisons to old school soul or Daftone Records. I think all that music is amazing. It's great.
Yeah,
it's our reference point. I take no offense if somebody says they're just part of this like throwback soul revival. Fuck yeah, we are. It's awesome. It sounds good.
But like 10 years from now, if we're still playing it, if you still want to call it a revival, that's fine. But I guess the real, like the underlying point of the whole thing is that if it's music that was popular in the 50s and 60s and it's still being played today, it's not really a revival. It never really went away.
Yeah,
that's an excellent point.
I work at the 5 Spot every Monday night, and I see hundreds and hundreds of kids come in there and
dancing to the same records.
dancing to Shotgun over and over again. You know, and it's like that music obviously like has hit a chord with people all around the
Jackson
world.
5 songs never went away, so it's you know and that's
Motown never went away. Stax never went away.
Yeah, so like those songs are never going to go away. In 40 years, if you don't hear those songs ever again, and then a band comes through like us, then that'll be a revival.
Yeah, I mean, if it's 1965 or 2065 or 2065, I mean, if you know, I Want You Back comes on, that's a monster.
And I'm telling
jam.
you, like that song comes on these soul nights, and people scream,
stoked,
and they still love it. And it's like there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And maybe someday people will play our songs and it'll be considered part of the same like legacy, and that's fine with us. But in the meantime, if we want to like go digital, or if we want to like add a rapper to our band or like do some crazy shit, then like I'm not going to rule anything out.
Yeah, no,
Cool.
we're definitely like not like we set out to play soul music, but I think like it really is just still music that comes from your like soul.
It's whatever.
So
it's whatever you feel.
So it's like if it's honest and real, then like that counts. That's all I really give a shit about.
Totally.
Well, that's a great transition. So talking favorite albums. So if Cool cred is out the window, what are 5 albums all time that'll get you through the day?
Okay, well, I have like my little setup, which I know that like,
and I can say right now that me and Len can't speak for the rest of everybody either. Like,
So I want to get 3 personal albums from
okay,
Alanna,
yeah, totally.
and 2 either one from that or 2 to represent the band.
Michael Jackson, Off the Wall,
Yes.
like all time. That's my all time favorite Michael Jackson record. That record is like perfect from beginning to end. There's no filler. Everything is amazing. From like the thoughtful orchestration, lyrical content, crossover appeal, and the fact that record kind of came in with like disco, and then also like, you know, when you hear like Billie Jean and you hear all that shit start that goes into like
Billie Jean was on Thriller though.
no,
so.
I know, but what I'm saying is like when you hear Billie Jean, you can hear like those synths, you can hear the beginning of that in Off the Wall.
Yeah.
You can hear that every single time Michael Jackson made a record, he referenced what had already happened and was already happening, what was going to be happening. He was always the bridge in between. Like he was the current, and that record like fucking starts it all. Like you can hear.
Also the sequencing of the record too. Like I think that's from first song to the last song is just like.
And we put a lot of thought into sequencing our record.
Boom.
We put a lot of thought into like how tracks 1 through 10 played. And, you know, we had a little string section in our record, and we did a bunch of stuff like that. And that like definitely affected like how things went together. But I'd say Off the Wall, Dirty Mind by Prince, because That record,
yeah.
that's another record that bridges like things that have already happened. Like Prince has always been the innovator. Prince made Dirty Mind, and he went through like Dirty Mind and Purple Rain, and all those. That's like classic music. That music is like you're gonna play when you put Purple Rain on. Everybody is singing that song.
Yeah.
When you put on Raspberry Beret, everybody's like those songs affected pop music, but also like. That's like the new roots music, like the way Americana is and bluegrass is like, and you think about like soul revival, like that shit is like, that's American roots music now. Like Purple Rain is roots music. It's ridiculous. It like really is like an essential part of American music.
If you grew up in this country, you know that song.
Yeah. And like,
well, if you're our age and you grew up in this country.
Yeah. Darling Nikki. I mean, like if the Foo Fighters are going to cover your song, it's going to be a goddamn good fucking song.
Yeah. That's
So that's my second record.
okay. That's 2.
And I'd say 3 would probably be a Stone Temple Pilots or like a Soundgarden record, or I don't know, a Ghostface Killer record. One of those, something definitely aggressive. I like a lot of aggressive music. I like a lot of like metal and punk rock music and hip hop. We're big hip hop fans, especially Jared and I, especially Ghostface. Ghostface is one of my favorite lyricists of all time. I feel like if people ever people who don't like hip hop could truly understand hip hop, Ghostface Killer would be my number one example of like hip hop music and like true, like Ghostface Killer is the Bruce Springsteen of the hip hop community. His storytelling is like out of control. He has concept records. He has concept songs that take you so far, and he has a way of saying things where you can go back to fucking Bob Dylan. I don't care any other exemplary like songwriter. And Ghostface, I would put with them at any time, any day.
That's really bold.
It just so happens that he's a hip hop artist, and it just is not going to have the same crossover appeal. And like, he's not like other rappers. He's not like Jay-Z. He's not going to use like, he's not going to make a Hard Knock Life or like Big Pimpin'. Like that's not Ghostface MO. He doesn't want to make music like that. But when you sit down and take the time to listen to one of his records, especially like Fish Scale or More Fish, I mean, he's like ridiculous.
So that it sounds like that is the third is Fish Scale.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so now since you're a generous human being, you've allotted
so generous.
You've
like pretty much a saint.
You've allotted 2 albums to represent what the band's into. Or Matt, do you want to give one of your own personal?
Matt, you can have one, and then we'll give the band one.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Lenny will give you a fair shake.
Thanks, bud. I was thinking about it. It's like picking like, oh man, there's like so many just amazing
Matt, can
records.
I pick a record for you? Because I know that there's a record that like is very near and dear to your heart.
Wait, but I feel like he's on his way. Give him a moment.
It's
Matt Slow's gonna get there.
It seems weird. I'm slow, but I'm good. It seems weird, but I think Radiohead's OK Computer is one of the best records ever made, and it was made, during my lifetime. Like, I feel like I am of that generation. I think it's a record that brought rock and roll to a different place that it had never been before. I think it bridged a lot of different things. I think the songwriting on that record is almost immaculate. I think the words are awesome. I think the sequence is great. I think the arrangements are pristine. I really think that they had an artistic vision and curated it and really made something special that I think is able to truly stand the test of time. I think they made one of the greatest.
It already
records
has,
ever
I
made.
think.
Yeah,
that record is old already. Like sort of,
And I just think OK Computer was like so 90s that people don't even know how 90s it was. Like it was just like such a time capsule, I think, of that decade and what happened before and what was happening, like what they're on their way to. Like, with just combining elements of just like a classic rock and roll combination, like of, guitars, bass, drums, and voice, and then like bringing in some of those electronic elements, but I think using them in like a totally tasteful way that like augmented the songs rather than was like, oh, this is like cool and kooky, like really, I think they really elevated that.
Man, I actually, to me, that album doesn't sound 90s at all. I don't think there's anything that sounds like it. Whenever it's kind of like it's OK Computer. It's kind of like one of those things. And of course it defines that. But when I think of 90s,
But But that's
And
like,
then-
I think maybe when I say that, I think maybe that's what I would like
Yeah.
the 90s to be remembered
Yeah.
for. Was like that was like
Yeah.
what was happening within music then. You know, people were really starting to figure out how to integrate, you know, regular instruments, you know, quotations, and then like the new computer-based instruments that were starting to.
And
like,
also,
you know,
and also, the '80s and early '90s were like a string of one-hit wonders. Like the '80s are known for one-hit wonders because that was when we first were able to open up, like through technology and MTV, that like music came from everywhere. You know, Poland and Australia, and like music was flowing so much freer in the '80s and the '90s, and then like. When you hear a record from the 90s or early 2000s, that's like a full concept, and not a concept record per se, but like from beginning to end, this is like a full artistic project. There's not a lot of
complete
records.
vision,
Yeah.
like, complete thought. And I think, but I think it stands up to some of just the best collections of songs that have ever been put together ever. You know, I just think I think every single song on that record is great. I think the hooks are just incredible. Like I said, they're arranged like immaculately. Like I think everything is just in its right place, which is weird because that's the song on the record. But like it's, I think they nailed it. And then another one for me is Led Zeppelin 4.
We are listening to the No Country podcast. I'm joined by Alanna Royale. We're talking about the band's full-length Achilles, which comes out September 16th. We're chatting about favorite albums. Now, October 4th, the band is taking over the Exit In.
Yeah.
You're bringing along LL and Kansas Bible Company.
Oh my God. Have you ever heard of a better lineup?
I haven't.
Never.
Impossible.
Not even Coachella.
So this is
Suck it,
your
Coachella.
Whatever, Coachella.
This is your guys' official CD release. I mean, how you guys are known for your incredible live show, but I mean, how much more pumped are you going to be able to play these songs?
Oh, consider it brung.
Oh yeah. I wish we could tell you about all the cool things that we're
Yeah,
gonna.
are you guys planning any sort of surprises?
Yeah,
Anything-
Oh,
anything
so
special?
many good surprises.
All right, give us one. Give us
Come on.
one that
Okay,
totally.
I think I'm going to mention.
Indigo Girls are going to be joining you on stage. Is that?
Yeah, the newer girls are gonna come
Yeah,
play
yeah.
a song that they play that I don't know.
We got them. Let's just say there's going to
Some
be
people from the record will be joining us,
Okay.
which is awesome because I'll say that our band will probably grow by 4 to 6 members that night.
for the whole night.
So what you're saying is there's a chance that some tool in the crowd could yell Freebird and it would actually be relevant.
That will literally never be possible.
If somebody yells Freebird, I'm gonna kick their fucking head off their shoulders with my size
I
11.
was thinking that maybe you guys go into an impromptu jam of Freebird, but that's also a good way to handle it.
No, the show will end.
Yeah, that's if you hate
will kick-
Alanna Royale, show up before our set, yell Freebird, and end the
nobody
show.
will get to see us.
You heard it here first, haters. We're putting you on blast. Come to the show, end the show, yell Freebird.
Well, I mean, that's
and we'll know who the haters are.
We'll know who the haters are.
Get the hater.
There's gonna be like they're gonna be like, you guys did 1,000 pre-sale, really? Yeah, for people who wanted to show up and end your show because they hate you so much. 20 of your family members showed up to buy a record.
No, it's kind of. So we're closing out our podcast with Alanna and Matt, and just a few more questions before we wrap up. And again, we've kind of alluded to this, Alanna, is that you're known for having this such larger than life personality. I mean, is that straight from Boston, or does that come from somewhere else?
I just think that this is my cross to bear. And that this is just the way fucking God made me, for better or for worse.
I'm
And
just as God made me, sir.
I just think that this is just the way I've always been. I've literally always been this way. I'll tell you, I'll leave you a little anecdote so you can like see how I've always been this way. When I was younger, I was disruptive in school, whether you can believe that or not.
This is I don't know.
When I met her, she had blue hair.
Spoiler alert, I'm a disruptive person. And the doctor was like, she's probably got ADD. This was like at like the height of like the emergence of like, hey, she's fucked up. She's got ADD.
ADD
like,
for everyone. Everyone's got ADD.
That kid, he might be retarded. Who knows? He's probably got ADD. This kid, like, whatever. It's like everyone's fucking ADD ridden. And so this child psychiatrist that my parents took me to see said, let's like see how she really interacts in the classroom. And they set up a camera in the classroom to videotape what I did during the day. Now, this is like, I went to a private Catholic school. That's probably actually, there you go. That's the reason why I'm all fucked up, is because I went to a fucking Catholic school. I remember being like in 3rd grade and seeing the principal yell at a fucking senior who had a mustache, and he was like, fuck, dude, I'm like 18, I have a mustache. And she's like, you can't have that in school, you gotta shave it off, it's like inappropriate, whatever. She was a bitch, Mrs. White.
What a tragedy. Someone would have to lose a mustache. Sorry.
This isn't about a mustache.
you're
This
right.
is about
Okay.
a girl.
Okay. So
I thought we were talking about Alanna here.
okay,
Yeah.
so they set up a videotape.
Yeah, but I didn't know what it was for. I had no idea that any of this was going on. So they put this camera in, and my teacher, Miss McFeely, who I loved dearly, she loved Mickey Mouse. Everything in our classroom had Mickey Mouse on it. She says, "Okay, guys, we have this camera. It's gonna be in the classroom. Everyone, just like go about your business. Let's all be on our best behavior and like behave normally." And what did I do? I was in that camera the whole day, making faces, like doing stupid shit, acting out. They said, let's be normal and everyone behave and like do your thing. And I was like, camera, 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 camera 1, camera 2. And then I'm sure the doctor's looking back like, does this child have ADD? The world may never know. This fucking kid can't get out of the camera. And when the doctor actually saw it, the doctor was like, this girl is bored to tears in school, and I actually got bumped up advanced like reading and math, and
Oh, wow.
I settled in
love that.
a lot better. And that's kind of like I think the story of my life is that I'm like constantly looking to be challenged. If I'm not challenged, I'm definitely a disruption. I'm probably a disruption either way, actually, to be totally honest. But I just need more. I like always need more, and this band was a huge undertaking for us. I've never worked with musicians of this caliber. I don't think I starting in a new town and like new projects and making this record has also been like quite an endeavor, and putting it all together, and that's just the way it's always been. And I think my personality is just fucking, it's just always been this way.
I love it. That's freaking awesome. Wow. Well, on that note, and that's totally appropriate. And that's exactly, it's that idea that what makes this you personally and this band so special.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited for people to hear this record, Achilles. It's coming out September 16th. There's songs available to preview now. I know that Animal, Phantom Limb is also out.
Cop Show.
Cop Show
Yes,
is
Cop Show, which I mistakenly called Bad Cop. Which
Oh,
was
yeah.
like total.
You called yourself out, man. We weren't gonna.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
No,
gonna,
but
I'm not
I want to acknowledge that. That was kind of a. That was. What a
I was like,
doofus
Bad Cop?
move.
What was
Yeah,
that?
like, hey, I love that bad cop song.
Hey, I
you've
love
got.
the bad cop.
Yeah,
Hey, great
this is
job on the
this is a great
research,
song, guys.
Brad.
Yeah, do your research.
Yeah. Amateur hour. So I got put in my
That's
place
okay.
there.
I literally said that we were from Boston recently at a show. Remember that?
Yeah.
I said we were from Boston, and everyone was like, Nashville, we're from Nashville.
but,
Who cares? Party.
I was like, woo, everybody get drunk. Forget this ever happened.
yeah, but I mean, when someone looks at you, they're not like, oh, this Nashville, born and raised. You know?
Oh, no, not at all.
So
Way
there
too
could be
cool.
worse things to say from stage. But anyways, the album is called Achilles. The release show is October 4th at the Exit Inn. They'll be joined by LL and Kansas Bible Company.
The loves of our lives.
Maybe the best lineup in history. So be on the lookout for that, and keep in touch with Alanna via Facebook, Twitter, all the social stuff that the kids do.
Gmail, Circles,
Okay.
Friendster,
Yeah.
LinkedIn,
Check her out on her
MySpace.
Hotmail
OkCupid.
account.
and Yogo. I don't know. I made that one up. Yogo's not a real thing.
Oh, gosh.
I wanted to be real.
You're so zany, Alanna.
So crazy. What will she say next?
I know, right? Matt, Alanna, thank you so much
Thank
for joining
you.
us.
Thank you,
guys
man.
so much.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
you guys
much.
taking the
We
time.
love No Country, and we really do appreciate. Like literally, it's very true. No Country's been there from the very beginning.
You guys
we really
are
do
awesome.
truly appreciate it.
You're the best.
We're not really worthy of that.
No, you absolutely are. Well, this has been the No Country Podcast. I've been joined by Matt and Alanna from Alanna Royale, and we will see you next time.
Yes,
Thanks.
sir.
You've been listening to the No Country Podcast, hosted by Brad Wilson and produced by Stan Edward. Theme song composed by John Davis.